Hello there on this podcast, on the Ecology podcast. This is Macmillan speaking, and yes, this one's about Greta and also about the eco anxiety stuff as well, and why children are being used to push this, why they're being used to push this climate change agenda as well, and to try and tell us that the world's going to end like in 12 years unless we take action on climate change, unless you pay tax or something. Yeah, unless you pay tax, unless you stop eating meat. Well, just give up eating meat. Start the actual climate change. I start off with a laugh, and yet here on Breitbart, and yet sent Greta of Thunberg, her golf was pure propaganda, and her course is evil. She's running, she's really, means we better do as I say. Oh man, we better do as she says. Oh, we're gonna probably, oh, we're gonna burn. Yet the war of nature must end. Oh, well, yeah. There's nothing to do about the war of nature because, according to Piers Corbyn, the climate policy is all about controlling you, not the climate. And it's called the green turn as well. And you can see that the temperatures is actually happening on the way down. And so has been on the way down here as well. And that's with the hot historic climate charging network stations. And yeah, it's just that's not what they tell you about. And yet they'll tell you, oh, it's green. Well, it's actually red. That's why you can refer it watermelon because it's green but red inside. And yes, and she does have a mental illness as well, and she's been used as a propaganda tool. The problem with Greta Thunberg is that she is a 16-year-old girl with pigtails. The problem with Greta Thunberg that she is not that she's a school dropout. The problem with Greta Thunberg is not she's autistic. There are hundreds of kids and other kids around the world with the same of these, and government are being criticized on having them. Nope. No, the problem, no, the problem with Greta Thunberg that she is, no matter how bright or inspiration or patriarchal or touching young fresh face or triumph over mental adversity as she maybe be, the facts that we should regurgitate on her behalf that of her controllers are liars, propaganda, and fake news, and her cause and the cause she represents is the downside evil. Yeah, and this is from Breitbart, and yeah, and I do have video of that as well from Ted, and I ain't gonna put it on now, and let's get to that. Yeah, let's get to that. I'm gonna put in full freedom mode. Oh,
So when I was 11, I became ill. I fell into depression. I stopped talking and I stopped eating. In 2 months, I lost about 10 kilos of weight. Later on, I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, OCD, and selective mutism. That basically means I only speak when I think it's necessary.
Yeah, if that doesn't really tell you that, though, people, and she actually even admitted herself that she's actually facing mental illness. Ah. There we go. Well, people, June had actually zoomed in. But if that doesn't really tell you that, people, I don't know what's really wrong with you, though, because, yeah, she admitted herself, and that's her speaking of it teared, and she even told all the people in the crowd that she was suffering mental illness. And yet, people, they're not using facts to push their agenda, they're using their emotions, and let's go to RT. And it's all a little bit slow. She says, Greta Thunberg says that let's wants you to be free and big business will make a killing of it. And that's the only thing she was speaking over at that. Yeah, 2019 climate summit there, yeah. She was speaking there, and she is used as a tool, people, and boy, as if you have told people, don't let them get caught up in that as well. And if there's like movies like Al Gore's movie and Leo DiCaprio Before the Flowers Zone, don't let them watch those movies, because they are propaganda movie, and yeah, the Extinction Rebellion is about pushing the depopulation movement, and it is. Yeah, during the Extinction Rebellion over like in England, and Piers Corbyn was thinking about was mentioning about the 5G and that though why it's a problem. He mentioned about it, so yeah, emotional Greta Thunberg attacks her as well. I'm gonna get to that though. Well, let's get to that. Oh, good grief. Crying out loud.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school.
Yeah, damn right, you should be back in school. At least there's a better place. I know who are not a fan of schools, and sometimes in classrooms, sometimes it's a bit of torture change because you do get bored. It's boring as hell. I know, wondering why you want to get out of school. And well, yeah, there's actually also you do take yeah, joining our school, you do take a bit of change as well. There's always a bit of benefit out of that, but I'm not saying that's actually the case. It's up to you to decide if it's the case or not.
The other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you?
Oh boy.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words. And yet I'm one of the lucky ones.
Yeah.
People are suffering. People are dying.
And you're 100%
Entire
suffering.
ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of...
And yet, as you are saying, listen to the science, climate activist, Greta Thunberg. Well, it's not science, it's not based on science. It's based on propaganda. Oh, just, what? What's going like a drum music? And if you don't like taking action, like giving up, man, start driving, no, man, the world's going to like drive, yes. It's not. Yeah, it's just sound like it, like Sandra Cordes, she was saying about that as well, say the world's going to hit the drivers. Boy, and she probably didn't even do science, and she was the one she's trying to push that Green New Deal, which she never read. And she calls it science. The documents will rule an impact of warming of 1.5. Oh boy. I know. It's just hysteria. Oh boy. Yes, just wants us to give up me all of us. It's going to like warm between like somewhere between 2030 and that. Well, no, because we actually head into a solar minimum and the sun's actually like blank for now, and we're just coming out of solar cycle 24, and we'll be soon be heading into solar cycle 25, and depends how solar 25 turns out to be. It could be like it could be as like we'll call it like the Dalton or the Moore Amendment, and well, let's get back to it.
Eternal economic growth.
Oh,
How dare you?
How dare you? How dare you?
For more than 30 years, the science has been crystal clear.
No.
How dare you continue to look away?
Well, you've been used from George Soros to push that propaganda. Let's go to national news. Let's go to that. Just as we suspect, climate youth puppet Greta Thunberg is controlled by George Soros. Yeah, there it is. Oh boy. I find it hard to look at that face of George Soros. Boy. He's one of those oligarchies, and he's the one who's pushing the vegan movement, the global warming movement as well, and it's not about saving the planet, it's all about pushing and implementing Agenda 2030, Agenda 21, yeah. Is it Agenda 2030? It's like Agenda 21 steroids, and they call it the Green Youth, and yeah, it's sort of like the Hitler Youth people. Yeah, because Hitler used children to push push his agenda. Yeah, and that's why they call it the Hitler. Yeah, that's why it was called the Hitler Youth, because they were used to push his agenda. And the same thing is going on with Greta Thunberg. Yeah, and there's like been many children being duped into it as well. And boy, it's called eco anxiety as well. And where is it there? Eco anxiety. Well, just give me a moment to find that as well. Well, people, well, I'm going to try to find, I'm going to get you to listen to what Peace Corps got to say. Well, there it is, people. How children are coping with eco-anxiety. Very about kind of. Well, people, you're brainwashed and indoctrinated. And you push the propaganda and all that responsibility on them. That's why they gained that condition. Yeah, that condition, yeah, because. Yet they say they 90% trying to worry about contracts and nearly 70% says that thought about contracts. Because you're pushing that propaganda on them and that big responsibility on them. That's why they're having that anxiety. eat all those pancakes or something. And they say making a change, well, reducing plastic waste. Yes, plastic waste is an issue, and it is an issue, but they're trying to say giving up meat for a cause. That's not even an issue. Eating meat is not really an issue. It's the factory farming that meat's being pumped with the GMOs, with those antibiotics, and being pumped with those hormones, and that's the real issue. And that's what made the meat actually as unhealthy as it is now. And the healthy meat is the grass-fed meat. Yeah, grass-fed meat. And that, yeah, I mean, animal had the best life out there though, and man, the meat will be good too. Yeah, I like that meat because it's actually, there's know that the animal has been raised properly, and that's know that why animal welfare is key when you want a good, when you want a good meat, when you want good dairy or something though, when you want good eggs or something, or good chicken or something, whatever though. Yeah, let's see, go inside it though, so let's continue on that video as well.
And come here saying that you are doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight.
Well, nothing's gonna be enough for you, Greta. Nothing's gonna be enough for you. If you're gonna give up eating meat or anything, though, if we did that, it's still not gonna be enough for you because it's an agenda. It is an agenda to push for Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030. So about global government, people. That's what it's all about. Global government. And yeah, and I actually have found she was actually wearing an Antifa t-shirt. Let's go to that one there. There it is there. And she's actually wearing an anti-fascist t-shirt. Oh, yeah, well, you're gonna be here. Well, you'll be called fascist if you sort of don't agree with their viewpoint as well. Even though they don't know what fascism is as well, they still call you that what they don't even know. So if they call you that, laugh at them. Oh boy. Whew, man. Yeah, it's just to say, well, I borrowed it from a friend. Well, it doesn't matter. Because Antifa is a violent organisation. It's very violent. They intimidate people if they don't agree with their views. And when you disagree, man, boy, you will get actually probably violently attacked from it as well. And so let's continue what she's got to say.
You say you hear us and that you understand the
I
urgency.
hear you,
But no matter how sad and angry I am,
because you're being used, Greta, you're being used from George Soros, according from national news from Ethan Half, and that was on. It was covered on September 24th. That's like about 2 days ago. And yet, it's Bill Gates using Greta Thunberg to push for the global warming depopulation vast climate hoax. Yet, that's what it's all about. Depopulation. They want to tell us there's too many humans as well. And the thing is, here in New Zealand, our fertility rates is too low. We actually at an extinction level already. Because our fertility rate is too low for human. We need to be at least like 2.1 for a human, yet for the population to either grow or sort of thrive a bit though, for people to look after the elderly as well, it has to be at that as well. And like in the old times before the 1800s, you had to have like 6 children for them like to actually meet the replacement, because all your children died because it's tough. Yeah, because times were tough way back then. But these days you don't have to have as much children because life is easier, living conditions better. And that's why you can actually have fewer children. but you still have to have at least like have to have the country be around 2.1 for it to actually still thrive because you get aging population and yeah, no, this is all about though and Bill Gates, George Soros, they're using Greta. See, Greta, you're just being used. I know I'm criticizing, I know I'm probably, you know what, you're going to be labeled as a bully for dare saying that. Well, I'm going to say it to you that anyway. So if you're going to try and label me for something just cause for speaking out or criticizing it, well, you can just suck it.
I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil, and that I refuse to believe.
Oh boy. Yeah, there it is. And yeah, and there's that Jacinda Ardern dog. Oh boy. And for me, let's see what she does.
Prime Minister, please tell us. Our business community is stepping up with a climate leaders coalition that together.
Yeah, she's up there with the climate coalition. Oh boy, and do you know what? She's spending the New Zealand money trying to solve climate change. Yes, and for news, MP Jacinda Ardern commit $150 million New Zealand to fight climate change. That's like probably almost about 100 US dollars. Yeah, almost that. Yeah, it's almost 100 US dollars. So, and boy, and she is just wasting money for the New Zealand public, from taxpayers' money. Yet to wasting. Have people in New Zealand, you need to wake up because she is wasting your taxpayer money to fight climate change. That's not even an issue. So people be warned. And they say just in the defense foreign aid spending. Well, how about let's just take care of our country first. Let's sort our problems out first before we're going to start supporting somebody else. Yeah, well, it says along with the renewable energy and doubt modeling support. And first off, there will be a water storage facility. Yeah, it's good to help out the other countries, but you also help out your own as well. And Jacinda Ardern, she doesn't even care about New Zealand. She wants to push the global governments. She's really pushing for, and she's trying to bring in like the carbon tax and the bill and that as well, and England and that though, and they actually already like banned meats in other places as well. And Australia, Mayor over in Victoria had actually banned meat on Monday, and there was a big barbecue trying to sue people, their neighbours, from eating meat and kids making noise. Man, they're just telling you what to do and what you can't do. And they say call for immediate action as temperature has new high. Oh, is that so? Is that so? Well, there's gonna be times of warmth and cold. And they all want to tell you, say, oh, it's gonna be actually 2 degrees warmer by the end of this century for a tougher run five when you go. Man, because they want to push New World Order government. That's what they want. And just another, and that's why the media is pushing that global warming agenda full steam ahead. And yet, just another opens the UN Climate Summit with the pledge to lead the way on food production as well. And yet, well, I'm going to continue what she's saying as well.
Represents fully 60% of New Zealand's gross emissions. Our farming leaders have made their own commitment to cutting emissions as a result of food production.
Yeah, they want us to start eating meat. Yeah, I bet you're all going to pass a law to try to get us to start eating meat, Arjun, and I know you're going to probably do that one day. Or with the other leaders that you probably plan to go with your course as well.
Over the next 5 years, we will collaborate to build systems that every farmer will be able to use to measure, manage, and reduce their own farm's emissions.
Yeah, like we're fighting cows. Cows are, and the thing is, cows actually belch more methane than they fart out as well. Oh, good grief. Man, I don't like looking at the face of this, and I just have a hard time looking at it. Because that's a lady that doesn't care about New Zealand, and that's a lady that's going to probably one day get you killed, and that is the face. Boy, please make no mistake of that, people. And that's why that Christchurch event thing as well, it's all about taking away guns and about undermining your freedom of speech, undermining your freedom. That's what it's all, and it's about taking away your freedom, people. It was actually a false flag, so I'm not going to get too much into it though, because I've got a lot to say about Greta still, and let's continue.
We are determined to show that New Zealand can and will be the most sustainable food producer in the world.
What we
So it's going to be the most sustainable food producer. Man, boy. And actually, and Greta should get angry for Greta Thunberg. Well, people are going to wake up if she gets angry, so she can't really show it on the media. Because if she hit, she wants to like start, and probably one day pass a law that's going to get us to get us to give up eating meat and to start and trying to get us to go vegan. That's what it's all about. It has nothing to do with health. It's about control. Because there's a quote from Henry Kissinger: "Control the food, you control the people." Make no mistake of that, people. Make no mistake. And also, Australia's actually got a ban from speaking at the UN climate change thing as well, because they didn't go along with the agenda. And also, Macron also got sued from Greta Thunberg after teenage actress sued France over climate. Well, he's also a climate believer, Macron. Well, Greta will say, she will say to Macron, "You're just not doing enough. That's why I'm doing it, because you're not doing enough." Man, you can never satisfy those climate activists. You can never satisfy them. Even if you do meet it, you can never satisfy them. Good grief. Yeah, good grief. And the kids versus the world and the land-made climate complaint. Yeah, they want to go along with their agenda, and let's see what they're going to say. Why kids are suing the world.
Hi, my name is Alexandra Villasenor. I'm 14, and I believe that children all around the world have a right to a stable climate.
Yeah, we also do have a right to a stable environment as well, also climate, because the thing is, climate is actually a place, and we do like that as well, but do you know what is a better idea, though? Starting a garden and cleaning up the oceans, like getting it with all those plastics and that, though, that's probably a better action. And because like you live out there, let's go to that there. Let's find it. Look at that, people, and look at the mess today as the climate protesters left behind a beautiful Hyde Park. So much landfill, so sad. See, that's how much mess they left behind as climate extinction rebellion movement. For goodness sakes. Why protesters have pointed out loud and clear droves and one image it goes viral. Yet they don't tell you close, but the thing is, what's the difference though? They make a lot more mess than those who are on the one.
That is why me and 15 other children from all around the world will be taking 5 of the most powerful countries to court.
Yet to court, to the climate court. Just cause they're not going along with the agenda. And it's all about trying to achieve one world government as well. And they want to sue them because they're not meeting the climate criteria. They're not giving up eating meat. They're not reducing the CO2 emission as well. And the thing is, CO2 is actually plant food.
The moment where I knew I had to be part of this lawsuit was seeing how all of these people in positions of power were listening to the students, but they weren't.
See, that was George Soros. Shaking hand. That is George Soros. That's all that might not look like him, but yeah, so see, yeah, just look at those here, economical forum. They were run by George Soros, and boy, and trying society, which we are going to get to that as well, and and I want to tell you that, well, it's in our DNA. Yeah, climate short protesters in the clear DNA, and the climates need to take action. Well, the better way to take action on climate change, grow a garden. Grow a garden, and you also get food as well, and yeah, food as well, and here, and actually, yeah, clean out the plastic, yeah, clean out the plastic, turn it to fuel, because that's the way to actually recycle as well. That's the better way, rather than having to be taken away to an overseas landfill. And boy, they tell you how dare you for your climate inaction. Oh, boy. Students are encouraged to bring their grandparents and community. Oh, boy. See, they've been brainwashed, though, and it's called eco-anxiety, and yeah, and that's what parents is used for dairy and farming as well. Good grief, and she was wearing an Antifa t-shirt as well, and and yet the climate shows as a crop that exploit kids, yeah, and that is in the New York Post. Yeah, there it is, that is in the New York Post. Yeah, so people, they exploit kids. See, and George Soros behind all that as well, and it's one from America think as well. Sorry, Greta, even your Swedes ain't buying a climate claptrap anymore. Yeah, because they are awake out and they know what's going on. They know you're being used and your children's being fooled into it. And people are speaking about that, yeah, see, the New World Order propaganda. who controls Greta Thunberg, and well, it says pop out, so you know when pop outs, because I just want to read it so I can do my video on that as well. And well, people are gonna really get to it as well. And well, here, Troy and Saudi through the roof, so let's get to it.
Culture and globalism destroying everything my parents and ancestors have worked for. Well said, Jordan.
Absolutely. I saw a piece in the ABC today about this young girl, Siobhan, who they said, that was their big caption, who is bravely failing her maths tests. They are making these poor, confused, scared kids into climate martyrs, celebrating the fact that they're going to deliberately fail a maths test. I mean, really, what are we doing to these poor kids? They are the luckiest kids in the world, born in one of the most peaceful times, prosperous country. You know, they should be the happiest kids in generations, but they are racked with...
Yeah, exactly. They should be one of the happiest kids, but they're being propagandized. They're being propagandized, and because of the Greta as well being run from George Soros to push their agenda, he's in charge, and that's what Hitler had done to his children. They used their children to push his agenda.
Doubt and anxiety, and they genuinely think the world's going to end in their lifetime.
I'm watching Sky Live now, and there's some poor young girl there in glasses standing there, presumably saying she's worried the world's coming to an end. We've got more than 10,000 people in the Domain in Sydney. The Victorian march hasn't started yet, but you'll have a similar number there. About 5,000 or 6,000 in Brisbane, 2 or 3.
Yeah, good grief, and yeah, and there's Jeremy Corbyn's brother as well, which is Piers Corbyn. Yeah, Labour teen activist Greta Thunberg as an ignorant brainwasher, in which that is the case. That is the case. She's been used from George Soros, and boy, I ain't gonna get a lot of flack for saying that as well, but I'm gonna say it anyway, because yeah, Piers Corbyn, senator and a climate change skeptic who was running a forecaster film River Action in the South London, tweeted, listening to an ignorant brainwasher is deranged. And yeah, I agree with Piers Corbyn. Yeah. Because he was a long-range weather forecaster, he actually knows it's a scam, and I'm going to watch a bit about what Piers Corbyn's got to say.
We're not from the school strike. We're not from Extinction Rebellion. We're here against Extinction Rebellion. We're here against the school strike. This is the first public appearance of Action for Life, a youth and all people's movement.
That is absolute bollocks. Absolute bollocks. You don't believe that?
No violence, please.
Be ashamed of yourself.
Man-made climate change does not exist.
Yep. And there's a fellow like trying to label trying to tell it all this. But he's just trying to deceive you while he is telling the truth, Piers Corbyn, and he is really bad. I don't really have a lot of time to say, but I'll go ahead and just get to it.
3,000 in Canberra. We've got 500 people in Bathurst, for God's sake. I mean, seriously, Bathurst is in the middle of the worst drought on record. I think they ought to be out there lending a hand to help farmers.
You wonder why they are, despite having every advantage that any child in the world could want to have, the worthy charity.
Yep, and make sure next time you go out to buy yourself a nice piece of ski gear or hiking boots, or if you're going off to the snow at the end of the year overseas, you want to get a new ski outfit or whatever. Don't go to Patagonia. They've run a full-page ad on page 2 of the Herald today with a picture of a girl with 2 earrings in her left ear with the headline "Facing Extinction."
And we wonder why the kids are terrified. We wonder why they are, despite having every advantage that any child in the world could want to have, they are unhappy.
To that end,
what we're doing to our kids is shameful.
Claire's online. G'day, Claire.
Oh, hi, Steve. How you going? And your Majesty.
Well,
thank you.
Guys, I'm a child psychologist. I'm based in Sydney in private practice. And you can imagine, the referrals for me generally for child anxiety are through the roof. I mean, we live in an age where we know more about parenting than ever before, but we have the most anxious, depressed, struggling kids, than any other time in history. But what concerns me is I'm getting preschoolers who know about climate change. I'm getting very young children coming in, and it's just disgusting. And I can't help these kids. I talk to parents a lot about simplifying a child's life in all kind of elements, over scheduling and things that they've got on in their life. But I also extend that to the amount of information that they were exposed to. And exposing a 5 and 6 year old, and these parents are quite proud of them. They're little kind of eco warriors. My little 6-year-old wants to save the world. Your 6-year-old's terrified.
I had a reporter at the rally in Canberra, Claire, talk to a 4-year-old who said the rivers are all going to dry up.
Oh, it's just, what they're doing to these children is just awful. I had a very, very bright 9-year-old boy, I see, and there was a task at school for him that required him to write his opinion on climate change. And he wrote backing up his opinion that he didn't believe in climate change. And it was a very well-constructed piece of writing for a 9-year-old. He failed that assignment, and he tried to argue the point.
Yeah, just for having an opinion. If you do have an opinion about it, that fail you. Because you cannot have an opinion about it, you had to go along with it as well. See, that's not what telling people. This is just really what they're doing to your kids, people. It's just awful. And if you're a parent, man, boy, you want to keep your kids away from all that climate stuff. It is fear-mongering what Greta is doing. I can't say what Greta is doing because she's being used from George Soros. And boy, he needs to be put behind bars and for life because he is really, he's a crook. George Soros is a crook. He's a crook because he's using children to push his agenda, the New World agenda. The oligarchy, and boy, he needs to be starting put away for life. It's just unacceptable, and what they're doing to our children. For goodness sakes. Good grief. Good grief. Here he says that we live in an age where we know more about parenting than ever before, but we have the most anxious and depressed, struggling kids in any time in history. Good grief, and says that we can't have those kids. Oh boy. You know what? If your kids haven't been brainwashed, keep them away.
Constructively that the assignment had asked for his opinion, and he had given his opinion, and that he was told he did it wrong.
I had a dad ring me yesterday, same thing, had a 10-year-old failed because they argued against climate change after sitting down and writing an essay about it.
It is.
And the buzzword with child psychology is resiliency. We want resilient kids, and we want kids to question things and independent thought, and it's just not happening. We're going seriously wrong somewhere.
Yeah, well, people, I'm going to just stop it right there because we might be coming to the end of this podcast. I know it's probably long, and people and to parents, I'll say keep your kids away from it. If they're trying to get your kids to join those Extinction Rebellion, do not put them in that mood. Keep them away from it. Keep them away from that movement. Because that's all it is pushing fear upon them. And boy, it's horrific what they're doing though. And well, people, I'm just gonna take a pee as well. I'll let you have a listen to what Peace Corps is gonna say. I'll just be away for a moment.
Climate policy is here to control you. It controls you, not climate. And if you don't believe me, just have a look at Big Ben Tower. The amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is 0.04%. If Big Ben Tower was the atmosphere, that would be 1.5 inches on top of Big Ben Tower. And man's contribution to that 0.04% is 4% of that. So man's CO2 is 4% of 0.04% of the atmosphere. That is like a bird dropping on the top of Big Ben Tower. And we're told that this controls climate. It is delusional nonsense. It is a pack of lies. Actual data shows carbon dioxide levels follow world temperatures. I repeat, CO2 levels follow world temperatures. And that has been true for 1 million years. And the rise in CO2 now is an after effect of the medieval warm period. Children and the public are being brainwashed now to be controlled and made to pay more for energy, for fuel, for everything. The fact is that carbon dioxide is plant food. Plants grow better with more CO2. CO2 is the gas of life.
CO2 is the gas of life.
We are against death cults being manipulated, but children are being manipulated to brainwash the public into world domination by the super rich. They talk about restructuring,
George Soros.
redistribution of wealth. What they're doing is redistributing wealth upwards, not downwards. The super rich are getting richer and richer, and school children are being used as a battering ram by the super rich in order to force the...
Sorry people, my smoke alarm had just came off, and I just let you continue.
To pay more for fuel and be controlled more and more by insane rules through the United Nations and the European Union. The European Union, better known as the Fourth Reich. They have a plan to deindustrialise the United Kingdom and control us more. We want more CO2, not less. We want scientific truth, not these lies spewed out by the United Nations and the European Union. Climate policy is here to control you, not to control climate.
Yeah, they're in the back. I think get some leaflets.
We have leaflets here, and anybody from a school, if they want to know more, organise a debate. And here's our QR code. There's a QR code on the leaflet, a QR code of an article at the University of Reading Debating Society, where we show very clearly in full science that man-made climate change does not exist. It's there to control you. It does not control climate. Carbon dioxide levels are an effect, not a cause of climate.
Good afternoon, sir.
See, we can have a chant now. CO2, CO2, good for you. CO2, CO2, good for you. CO2, CO2, good for you.
Well, people, yeah, my smoke alarm decided to go off unexpectedly in the middle just as I come out to the end of the podcast. Well, they're going to tell you what, your house is on fire. Well, I haven't found any fire there yet. It just seems to be going off randomly as well, and I'm just beginning that problem as well. And yeah, it's just been sitting off the smoke alarm. I don't see any fire in my house yet, so I guess the Greta says that, well, your house is on fire, try to tell you, just want to ignore it, but I don't see any fire here yet. So false alarms, hard people. And that's what the climate movement is, false alarm. Well, people, that's all I got to really say for now. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I know it's been pretty long, but I really enjoyed it a bit as well. And I'll say to people, if you do have children, keep them away from the climate movement. Don't let them watch the Al Gore's movie or Leo DiCaprio's movie before they play or anything though. Keep them away from it. Because they will propaganda films and it will actually mess up your child. And that's what is really happening. They are screwing up your children. And people like Bill Gates and George Soros, they're using Greta to push that climate movement. I've probably said it many times or so. Well, people, sometimes I like to keep talking, but we really got to get a move on as well. And I'll say, I hope you enjoyed it as well, people. And this is Matthew Miller signing off, over and out.